Sinan Ulgen is from the Centre for Economics and Foreign Policy Studies and a visiting scholar at Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. And he joins us now from Bodrum in Turkey. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. At this stage, is there going to be any option left but to go back to the polls, would you say?
Well, on paper, there's still an option of seeing the emergence of an alternative coalition government between the incumbent AK Party and the Nationalist MHP. But that is right now a very slim probability, and it's very likely, therefore, that we will see snap elections in Turkey, most probably before the end of the year.
I'm reading too that it's most likely to happen in November sometime. So what, if anything, will have changed in terms of support for the parties? Is it likely that there'll be an almost identical result to the June election?
That is also very likely, and that's the reason why people have difficulty in understanding why the body politic, and in particular President Erdogan, has not really backed a coalition government between the two large parties in Turkey, because expectations are indeed that structurally nothing is going to change, that we shall see a very similar parliament emerging out of these elections, and therefore yet another round of coalition talks. And therefore the question is, why is it that the parties couldn't come together now? Given that the situation is very unlikely to change in the elections that will, in all likelihood, take place in November, as you said.
So if the result is likely then to just mirror that of the June election, why then is an early election being so forcefully agitated for?
Well, the main reason why the country is actually going for early elections is on the off chance that the ruling AK Party would be able to get the majority that they had lost in the June elections. From President Erdogan's perspective, that seems to be the main motivating factor. That even though there's a slim likelihood of that happening, he still wants to take the chance, given that there is virtually no downside to him, at least, for early elections. The AK Party may end up seats, but structurally that will not really be important, in the sense that the party will still come out as the winner of these elections, but they may not again be able they may not be in a position to form a single party government. So the upside is that they will win a majority, and Erdogan wants to take that chance.
What can you tell us about the role that President Erdogan has played during these talks?
Well, President Erdogan, even though he hasn't said it publicly, has the general perception in Turkey is that he has been averse to the formation of a coalition government. And he has really been the person behind the scenes that tried to prevent the coalition government from being established, whereas Prime Minister Davutoğlu has been more intent on establishing a coalition with the main opposition, CHP. And again, the reason for this approach has been for Erdogan to try to push for new elections that could possibly see AK Party emerging not only as the winner, but also to regain its lost majority, so that Erdogan can operate as de facto president, the de facto executive president of the country with a single AK Party government.
Sinan Ulgen, consensus was reached during the talks on a number of issues, but in what areas were differences unable to be resolved?
Well, according to the statements yesterday after the collapse of the talks, the AK Party side stated that the main differences were on foreign policy and on education policy and the role of the president. Whereas from the CHP side, when we look at their statements, the main difference for them is that the AK Party had not really come out and offered them a long-term coalition. The only offer on the table, again, according to the CHP representatives, was for a coalition government with a short stint, an election government, essentially. And that's not something that the CHP had agreed to.
Of course, Turkey's national security is in the spotlight at the moment. A series of airstrikes were carried out against Kurdish militants in the country's southeast this week. Is there concern that this political instability could further increase tensions?
Absolutely, that's the concern that most Turks have, that without a strong and broad-based government, there will not be an opportunity to stop violence and to rejuvenate what has been one of the most and commendable initiatives of the last government, which has been the Kurdish settlement talk. That will.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We'll have to leave it there tonight. Sinan Ulgan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.